5. This morning we talk about the pain as fuel shortage escalates. I was joking that asking you guys, hoping that you have fueled your cars. But on page 4 and page 5, the pain as fuel shortage spreads, but also how's experts to assess impact on the new fuel taxes. Honorable Kipruto, I'd love to start with you with this one, because back in 2013, members of parliament decided to bring in a new tax, and which they suspended for 3 years and another 2 years, and those 2 years came to an end on August 31st, 2018. And on 1st of September this month, we saw a different cost of livings rather going up. Why can Parliament just get rid of this tax? Why do we have to continue postponing it and leave alone to 2020 or henceforth? Why can't we just get rid of it?
Well, I prefer calling it the lazy option, where people do not want to exploit all the possible combinations in terms of what can make economic sense. I'm not an economist, but you see, a lot has been said that this 16% on fuel is going to have a lot of influence on escalating the cost of production. And I know for farmers, it will go up by more than 500 shillings to plow 1 acre of land. This therefore means at the end of the season, the 16% will be wiped out, that which is the normal profit for any farmer in agriculture, unless you are doing some contraband kind of farming. Otherwise, 16% is the maximum that you can get on a good season. And given the fact that the government has not even paid us up to now about 3 billion shillings, it means the food security agenda of the president is going to be in jeopardy. Now, back to Parliament. You know, Parliament, it does not design the budget. Parliament is just is presented by the options by the government. And this therefore means that the government itself of necessity should have initiated a more innovative way of dealing with these issues. Instead of saying the IMF and the World Bank or whatever it is, these institutions never give you a prescription. You go to them that I want to borrow money, and this is how I want to spend, and this is the way I will be collecting my revenue for purposes of paying the loan. They are just like any other lending institution, and therefore to blame it on any other person is wrong. Let's blame it squarely on the government. They do not seem to have very viable options that can spur the economy, because the economy is already shrinking, as you know.
Nevertheless, government, yes, deals with a budget, but Parliament can also influence it, deciding to whether we should accept it or not.
Yeah, Parliament can influence, but how much capacity does Parliament have, given the fact that Jubilee has been enjoying the numbers from 2013? And
these are the same legislators who created and came up with this VAT on petroleum products.
Yes, they did, but as I told you, the main design is done by government. The government can say, how much are we going to rake in by putting VAT on fuel? If it is 70 billion, the way some people are saying, can't we get alternative ways of doing it? Can't we even scale down some of the projects that we're doing, so that this 70 billion does not have to be part of the budget? And you see, there is no crime. If President Uhuru said, gentlemen and ladies, it is not possible to achieve our budgetary projections this year. We have to do a supplementary budget, even if it is in October. Because realities are there, that the economy is shrinking and the debt is escalating by 15%, we've said that before. And next year, the money that we're going to collect now is going to be more than 60% will go towards paying the debt. We'll be left with 40%, then 30% of 40% we are going to steal. So in the next 3 years, this country is going to be put in a lot of trouble. So we want the president, when he comes back, really to be bold enough and say, we cannot achieve some of these things. Let him achieve just anti-corruption crusade, and food security will rein in the others. Otherwise, we are pretending.
And speaking of debt, are we digging ourselves even further, especially now with this newfound relationship with China that continues to deepen?
We are already. You know, I saw some members of parliament using statistics that are for last year. Today, we are at 74. The debt GDP ratio is at 74, because we are at 5.1 trillion, and our economy is 7 trillion. So, if it's, you know, simple mathematics, we are digging in, and by the time we are at 6, now we are going to be among the countries which owe a lot to the world.
And this is a sad reality, Weda, and you mentioned, and also Honorable Kipruto has just echoed it, that we seem not to have experts, even within our own government structure, that can give advice on, back in 2013, saying if we do this, this will be the projections come 2018. Why do you think that we seem, and it's the same thing that he said, lazy policy making, that seems to be the problem here?
Let's get this thing very clear. When you want nice caviar is the eggs of fish done at international level, you get a chef. Now, if you get a lawyer like me to do those caviar for you, I don't know whether you'll have them. What we want is different from the people we elect. When we go for election, we go for people in our party, our tribesmen, people who pay us kitu kidogo. Those are the 3 considerations. Then we elect them. But we expect them to deal at IMF level, at international economics level, at all this. The mix. So you hear a member of parliament saying, we don't know why we passed this thing. We don't know this law. Oh, kumbe it was there. It is because the wrong people are in the National Assembly and in the Senate. I had an MP saying we were duped that by the time the law comes into effect, our oil from Turkana would have been mined, and it would have been there in the economy, and the price would have gone down. And when you hear a member of parliament saying that, knowing very well that oil, when it is drilled, the first quantities, it almost goes to the person who is drilling. You start reaping much later. So we get in the problem at parliament. Then when it comes now to the policy level, there's the face of Kenya. There's the friends of the president and the deputy president. So it's not a question of competence, knowledge. You find, take even cabinet level. Some people are in charge of sports. When you see them, you can see a real joker. And you don't expect much from them. So with those kind of mess, you do not expect that when things go elephant, when you are now talking about a trillion, the way now Honkiro is talking about it, then you understand where the problem is. He was Minister for Agriculture, but he knew about agriculture. He knew how long maize takes in the ground, what kind of fertilizer you need. There are some people you put there, they'll ask you, so how is this maize planted? What about this? They just know good English in Nairobi. The result is where we are, and we'll continue going down. And
speaking of result, whether I need to get your quick thoughts because of time on our big story, page 6 and 7, that sad story of Sharon. I mean, she was not only murdered, even the way it was done was so horrific. And she was 7 months old, with a child rather. This is just, there's just no respect for human life anymore, would you say?
Genesis 6. Verse 5, 6, and 7. God himself regretted creating the human being. He regretted. He says, I'm sorry, I regret. And he wanted to wipe out the human being. That's when he saw favor with Noah. Why? Because the heart of the human being is inclined to wickedness. Wickedness is that you just want to do bad even when you are not provoked. You just see people, some I just see the way I see you, and I just imagine how I can cut off your neck and chop it. So you look at the kind that has happened. One consolation is that human blood is so strong. Remember the brother who killed the brother, and then the blood cried to the Lord. When you kill people, somehow there is somebody who has seen you, somehow there is DNA you have carried from the scene, there must be something which goes wrong which will eventually lead to your arrest. So those who have killed this lady, they will be arrested.
Honorable Kipruto, speaking of arrest, this is going to be a true test for DCI?
Yes.
To see
it is a true test, but also we are worried about what happened the other day about Mr. Mwai, who is said to have been allegedly accused of almost attempting to murder somebody, only for him to lose his life. We hope that the two individuals, the Nation reporter and also the aide to the governor, are going to be protected so that we get to the bottom of the problem.
Right.
It is unfortunate that life has become so cheap that people just choose to kill to get rid of a problem. That problem could have been resolved, whether this was some love affair between somebody and somebody, it would have been resolved differently. You don't have to kill somebody's daughter for you to resolve a problem.
Wow.
Let me point out that there is a law and there's an institution for witness protection in this country, and it is funded.
But how many Kenyans know that?
Not only the Kenyans, the DCI and the people should know that you are a witness and you are put under protection. It is so for you to be killed in the process, or for somebody to say that you have purportedly committed suicide, it must just be planned.
And imagine also in a police cell.
Yes.
It is a police custody.
And that's the other thing, even
So
though
it
there's
ceases to
witness
be a
protection.
custody.
Exactly, and even if there's witness protection,
Yes.
how far will that protection protect me? Especially in this case, where there are quite big names that are being mentioned in both scenarios.
Yes.
That witness protection can't protect me that much.
If the DCI and government decides that this will be done properly, you'll always be protected.
All right, but
But
let's see.
when you are arrested, you know, in the cells, immediately you ask to remove shoes, your belt, everything. One of the rare deaths you can experience is through death by hanging, because you have no opportunity to hang yourself. So when you come out hanged, either you are hanged at your request.
Right. Whether we'll see whether time will reveal whether justice will be done. All right, on the Daily Nation, also the love baby and death in thicket is one of the stories that they're running with. And that is where we will close off press review. But when we come back from this short, quick commercial break, we'll take a look at State of the Nation, a few of the things that are making headlines, but this time we go deeper into it. Also later on, after State of the Nation, we'll be having ANC party leader Musalia Mudavadi here for Person of Interest. It is a conversation that you do not want to miss. Stay with us. It's so sad and unfortunate. It's so sad.